Oh, yes.
A blade. Let's do. The jeweler cherishes their gems. I came here several times with my father when I was little, but stopped eating here as often after growing up. I hope the food here will be to your
Father?
taste.
Abu.
Oh, don't worry. We haven't eaten at a hotel like this in a while.
Ah, in that case...
Ooh, everything looks so good.
Why, of course. Go ahead, try whatever you like. If the food...
And if it's...
Well,
You, sure have your own way of doing things. Oh, we called this a farewell meal, but we could also treat it like a victory feast, right? We did just win that case after all.
Oh, true. Very true. In that case, boss, we'll have another 2 dishes.
Paimon didn't mean that you had to order even more food. Speaking of cases, do you think that the mastermind behind the serial disappearances will get caught soon now that this has all happened?
Well, we've certainly taken a big step forward, but I feel that's about it. We know that there's an organization that means to dissolve these young women, but we still don't know what they are really after.
If it hadn't happened right in front of us, Paimon wouldn't have ever believed that a person could be dissolved like that.
Right? Yet it was because this was such a preposterous notion that the investigation could never really move forward before.
Ugh. If only that guy could have finished speaking. We were so close to hearing who was behind it.
In such investigations, even the smallest step can seem like a yawning chasm if the trail of clues is cut off. To be honest, I don't have high hopes for any follow-up that the authorities might conduct. It's not that I don't have faith in their ability, it's just that a different perspective is required in some matters. It's easy to guard against and deceive a single narrow perspective. A shift in thinking is required at such times in order to produce a breakthrough, which is exactly why the Spina di Rosula exist. Those highfalutin folk are not all-knowing. That's why we exist, to seep into the cracks where filth falls through, where their watch fails them. That's the kind of problems we solve.
Seems Paimon thought
Grazie
things
Inca
were
per il follow.
simpler than they actually are.
It's all right. Well, this was supposed to be a farewell meal, so I doubt you have further interest in this business. Let's talk about something else. Like, what are your future plans?
That's true. We didn't have a chance to speak to her after the trial ended. It didn't really seem like the right time or place to do it anyway.
I see. So, your primary objective, which has been foiled so far, was to have a chat with the Hydro Archon. I've heard that there's a long line of people waiting to meet Lady Farina. I suspect you'll be waiting for quite a while, considering that you missed your chance today.
Yeah, we've heard that she's super popular
Vale.
here in Fontaine, and that it'll be
Oh.
tough getting any of her time.
Well, would you consider some more, unique ways? Perhaps even methods of, let's say, questionable legality?
Guess that's Spina di Rosula's boss for you. Chock full of sketchy ideas. Well, what did you have in mind?
Well, one way would be to infiltrate a performance troupe at the opera. I'm sure Lady Farina would be eager to see the ending, and would agree in order to finish watching the play. Don't you think?
Could you suggest something a little more practical? This plan seems pretty hard to pull off. We'd have to go learn how to act, and acting's really hard.
All right, here's another. Find a way to conceal yourselves under her bed. Then wake her up in the dead of night and demand answers. Don't let her go back to sleep until she answers all your questions. I can personally testify that this one works. When I'm sleepy, I'll do anything as long as I can finally get some sleep.
That might work, but that's not really the problem. The problem is we don't want to get ourselves arrested.
Ah, valid point. I overlooked that part. I was just thinking about leveraging a person's desire for sleep. All right, no more joking around. You did defeat her in court, clearing citizens of hers from false accusations.
You mean that if we catch her while she's on a... Why don't we give it a try after this meal? You know,
Huh? Paimon, did you drink my Fanta?
was this your drink? Sorry about that. Paimon wasn't really paying attention and the cup was right next to Paimon. Would you like to order?
No, it's fine. We're just...
Alright. Honestly, Paimon wouldn't recommend Fanta anyway. It tastes kind of salty and icky.
Is that so? Huh. Well, in that case, we'll have to blacklist the Fanta. If we're all finished eating, then I'll go pay.
Yeah, we're stuffed. Oh, so full. Paimon can barely float anymore. Can't you see Paimon's barely an inch off the ground?
Okay. As for expenses this month, we're...
Hey, Navia, what are you doing over there?
Oh, nothing. It was just a meal, you know? Nothing the Spina di Rosula can't cover.
Let's get ready to try to meet the Hydro Archon again. But...
So this is goodbye, huh? Well, if you do encounter any other trouble in Fontaine, you're always welcome to contact the Spina di Rosula. I'll give your... in any case, I wish you smooth sailing. I'll see you again, partner.
See ya!
Oh.
Today is a lucky day.
Quale? Ah, io ce l'ho in ritardo, non me lo fa vedere.
A blade embraces its duty, as a jeweler cherishes their gems.
Seems like the stories here never have a happy ending.
A blade is like a tea leaf. Only those who sample it many times can appreciate its true qualities.
Seems like the stories here never have a happy ending. Seems like the stories here never have a happy ending.
I only wish life could be as leisurely as this a little more often. How greedy of me.
Seems like the stories here never have a happy ending.
A blade embraces its duty, as a jeweler cherishes their gems.
There aren't many people around anymore.
Vache.
Looks like we're back here again. Huh? Traveler? That's...
Vache?
Hey, why are you still walking towards it? There might be some... Huh? Hang on. Hey, Traveler? Stop walking! Come on, wake up!
Vache? Are you... my dear Vache? No, wait. You seem to be someone else. Do you know Vache? I'm... Wait. Who? My memories feel like they have been washed away like a flood. So many fragments dissolved amidst the tide, never to be recovered. How much have I lost? How many things that I once held dear while on land? Yes, that is what I was once. But now, I do not know how I came to be like this either. I only vaguely remember being covered in light blue water. I also remember going to many places. I loved adventure. No matter where I went, Vache would go with me. I knew how dearly he loved me. And I also loved him equally as much. But now, we can no longer go back. The pain of such parting. I never knew how heavy it could be. No, our reunion no longer has any meaning. There is no way for us to create any new memories. The thought of me gives him no succor. So let it lie forgotten beneath the waters. If you meet Vache, tell him not to look for me. Tell him to move on. That is the only thing I still remember. Perhaps that is so, as I was submerged in the waters, losing consciousness. If only I could have comforted him. Is that what you call it? It was a state of neither fear. I could also liken it to being a thirsty person who drinks water for the first. I think I hear your companion. It's time for you. Farewell then.
Wake up! Come on, hurry! Navia's outnumbered!
Demoiselle, look out!
Dear God, it's a whole army of Gardamex. Chlorand? Quick, now's our chance!
I should thank you for lending us your sword there, Chlorand. But before I believe that
Mr. Callus's last wish.
Do not!
Sorry, Demoiselle.
Thank you for your...
Sorry,
Whatever.
I doubt I know much more. Your performance tonight.
And what
None of these mecha. I can only conclude.
What? Your point?
Yes.
I will continue in... Right. I suppose that's the best news we've gotten today.
Demoiselle, I believe that...
I know, I just... She's...
Oh, thank goodness! Paimon thought we were those Gardamex people. Oh, and there was that champion duelist named Chlorand who came out to save us too!
Oh, come now. Forget as such.
It will take 50 years for me to match Demoiselle's magnanimity.
If it were me, I would have joined.
All right, you two. That's enough.
Actually, Navia, how did you know that we were in danger? You sure did show up in the nick of time.
Well, to be honest, you're the one who tipped us off, Paimon.
Huh? Really? Paimon contributed somehow?
Yes. All thanks to you grabbing my...
How did...
After we parted ways, I was on the way back to one of our bases when I suddenly thought of what you said, that the Fanta tasted kind of salty and icky. Fanta only comes in sweet flavors. So how could it have tasted salty? The color of the drink, if I recall, had also been a bit off.
So the Fanta had been spiked with water from the primordial sea?
Yes. So if you hadn't drunk that cup for me...
Spina di Rosula is preparing the grandest of awards for you as we speak for saving the boss.
Huh. Really?
Vabbè, in un gioco del genere City Bag. Io non ho capito.
I sent people to Hotel de Boer to investigate, but whoever did this left no trace at all. That's when I figured out that you might be in danger and hurried here.
What? Why would they go after us too?
Well, you did foil a plan that they were probably pretty proud of. Speaking of which...
Well, it can't be a coincidence that the traveler fainted. Oh, and this time Paimon heard it. Does that mean
That doesn't sound like too much of a bad thing.
new intel?
Well, let's hear... Oh. Vache, since he saw that, but he never gave testimony, or... Yes, thank you. Oh, you mean...
Well, you did say. And besides, we're in this now whether we like it or not.
Demoiselle, do try not to look quite so pleased. You are the face of Spina di Rosula after...
You talk too much. Well, in that case, let's head back to one of our bases. We also have some plans to go over, and hopefully we can deepen our bonds.
Don't worry, you two. With us around, our base is definitely...
It's right up ahead, but let's make sure we weren't followed first.
I've been keeping watch, Demoiselle. I haven't spotted anyone suspicious thus far.
Huh, very good. But let's not let our guard down for now.
I shall find rooms for our respected guests.
Thank you, Malus. Now, let's continue, traveler.
as your base? It's not quite what Paimon imagined.
Your accommodations have been arranged. Under the present circumstances, I can confidently say it's the best we have.
Well, our funds have been a little tight lately. After all, we don't allow illegal or unethical profiteering. In fact, our funds often...
Seems like it's tough times for everyone. But if you have the support of the people, that does sound like it's worth it.
To be honest, our financial situation was a lot better back when my father was in charge a few years ago. I'm afraid I'm not quite his equal.
Your father... he was the previous...
Demoiselle, if you'll allow me to explain.
No. I'll explain it myself. I suppose I couldn't run from this topic forever. And as partners, this is something I hope they can understand. My father's name is Callus. Yes, the same one they call Callus the Unfaithful in the streets. 3 years ago, he was accused of murdering his own friend. But he chose a duel to defend his honor instead of standing trial. He died in the duelist's ring.
Oh no.
But I do not believe my father was a murderer. I'm sure he was set up. At the time, I believed that if he only stood trial and was duly investigated, something amiss would crop up and prove his innocence. But strangely, he not only requested the duel himself, but rumor has it that even after being seriously injured, to the point where he could be deemed as having lost the duel, he refused to surrender, determined to die in the arena. 3 years later,
Oddio,
I
la
still don't
skin
understand why
è
he did that.
simpatica, dai, è
How
bellino.
could he protect his honor
L'arma è un po'...
if he's
ok.
dead? If the closest piece of info I have is that my father had been investigating the serial disappearances case at the time of his death.
Ah, so that's why you're so determined to get to the bottom of that case.
That's right. I've also tried to investigate the murder my father was implicated in, but I haven't found a single new clue in my countless reviews of the investigation records. However, I believe that if the murder case is related to those behind the disappearances, they must know something. I must know what really happened. Was my father coerced? Framed? Even if he really did kill his friend, I must get to the truth. If only he'd been more open with me when he was still alive. He even hid the fact that my mother died due to complications when giving birth to me. And now, here I am investigating his death. You really are a handful, aren't you, Papa?
Demoiselle, please, if there is anything I can do, anything at all.
I also will never believe that Master Callus murdered anyone. There are none whom I respect more than the two of you, Demoiselle. Master Callus did so much good in life, yet all it took was one murder case for him to be dubbed Callus the Unfaithful. Even our supporters decreased greatly due to that incident, hence our strained finances at present.
Wait, if Callus was such a good man, wouldn't people at least be a little suspicious when he was accused?
No. Perhaps people just revel in that kind of drama. It's not something exclusive to people from Fontaine, really. Everyone's like that. People love watching the evil turn over a new leaf, but they also enjoy watching good people fall into an abyss from one slip-up just as much.
But how could... never mind. If Callus was really falsely accused, we have to find the
Ci
truth.
sta, bravo.
There is one other thing.
Ah, niente.
Well, then, isn't that as good as saying that she was the one who killed him? Yeah, that's not the sort of thing that you can just let go and move on from.
Miss Clorand has she knew Master Callus beforehand, and great there was...
It's not that I don't understand her at all, but I just can't deal with this yet.
Don't worry, Navia. Paimon knows how you feel. You don't have to force yourself to do that.
Afterward, Miss Cloran told us that at the start of the duel. Yes, that is our understanding as well.
Oh, Papa. What madness drove you to ask the person who killed you to take care of me? All right. Anyway, that's the information I wanted to share with... thanks. You two should go and rest. This...
Yeah. Paimon's feet.
Please, relax and get some sleep. We.
Paimon slept so well. This place feels almost too safe. Huh? Navia? Where did the other two go?
I sent them back to Poisson. It's Spina de Rosula's place of origin, and where we have our headquarters. There's not much for them to do here at the moment.
Paimon gets the feeling that you're just trying to get them off your back. But never mind that. When did you get back? Were you waiting here the whole time?
No, I just returned after going out for a while. I did some
Wait, so you didn't sleep at all?
How could I after having such critical new evidence appear?
Guess Paimon wasn't speaking for everyone just now, huh?
Unfortunately, this name seems to have been wiped from existence. It doesn't seem to have a match anywhere. I suspect that those behind this have already taken steps to hinder an investigation from this angle. But that does prove that this Vache person is a key witness in the incident.
Does that mean we're too late, though?
No. There is one ray of hope. One place in Fontaine that they would find almost impossible to threaten, no matter how much they wanted to. And that is the archives kept by Chief Justice Neuvillette, a place where detailed files on all the cases in recent years are kept. If the Oceanette you met is one of the young women who went missing recently, we should be able to find some related information there.
So Neuvillette maintains an archive of case files? Whew. Guess that's the hard-working Chief Justice for you. In that case, let's go talk to him, shall we? Aren't you...
No, it's nothing. Let's go see the Honorable Chief Justice. The Palais is right up ahead. Come on.
Halt! Please state your business here. The Chief Justice is presently occupied with official matters.
Huh. This place does look pretty heavily...
Hey, don't you recognize us?
Huh? Who are you? Just to be clear, I don't care who you are.
See? They...
Yep. Paimon can...
If you're here just to crack jokes...
No. What I meant to say is...
Oh, yes.
We're here today to... Of course. Don't worry. We're here on official business. You can trust us.
All right then, I'll let you through. The Chief...
Thank...
Please come in.
Stessa.
It's all right. Please let me know how I may be of assistance to you.
So you're not mad at us?
We're looking for a man called Vache. He may have been an eyewitness in the serial disappearances case. If we can find him, we may be able to unearth some key information on the case.
Ah, I see. In that case, please wait here a moment while I browse through the files.
Who knew that Neuvillette would be so easy to talk to?
Unfortunately, I'm quite certain that no one by the name of Vache has been involved in... There are no records of him either in the files or in my memory.
Traveler, what if it was
Is that so? All right then. Thank you so much, Monsieur Neuvillette. We'll take our leave.
Ahem. Miss Navia, I can understand how you feel. Your father, Callus, was a truly exceptional man. We deeply regret his passing.
And what are you trying to say, Monsieur Neuvillette? Are you trying to console me? Extend your sympathy? Or just express some tendril of regret? No. You are not trying to do any of that. I can hear it in your voice. There's no emotion behind your words. You only said those things because you felt like you should. It's just like last time. After my father took his place in the duelist ring, I pushed through the guards to talk to you as a last resort. You even told me then that you thought there was something fishy with the case, yet you still allowed the duel to go ahead. In your eyes, the value of a human life is if you truly regret my father's death. Why didn't you give me the power to stop him from throwing his life away? Everything was hanging on a thread. There are still so many things. If you really have no heart, then just look me in the eyes. I, Navia, will show you the true meaning of regret.
I'm sorry, Miss Navia.
You and my father are truly alike. You keep all kinds of things in your heart and never say a word to anyone. It's not so much that you can't feel, but that you would never express anything. Oh well. In any case, everyone already knows full well the apathy of the Chief Justice. My apologies for taking my emotions out on you, Monsieur Chief Justice. Let's go, Traveler and Paimon.
Navia, are you okay?
I'm fine. Rain. It's raining.
You're right. Wasn't it still sunny when we went into the building? And there shouldn't be any active trials today. How strange.
Now that I think of it, on the day my father was convicted of murder, it was also raining.
What is it? Did you think of something?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, he was outside. It was uncovered and the rain could fall there. Why? Do you think the rain could have affected the crime scene? That thought has occurred to us before. We've even expanded the search area to try to account for that, but didn't find anything of value. Oh? Wait.
So you're saying that the true murderer could have been turned into water?
Eh.
And then got washed away with the rain? Yeah. And if that's what had happened, then no one would have believed your dad, even if he explained what he saw to the authorities.
I really think I found a true
Pazzo.
genius. All right, let's go to Poisson.
Yeah, we're gonna make progress for sure this time.
Do you want to go with me now? Or do you want to head over by yourself later? All right, then I'll wait for you.
Grazie, Pesac, del follow. L'ho ingoiata come se fosse aria. Ma teniamo alla nostra digestione. Più o meno, diciamo che faccio un po' di missioni principali in generale. Adesso, visto che devo andare in questa zona, mi sono messo un attimo ad esplorare. Però sì, dovevo andare qui. Invece sono andato un po' da tutta l'altra parte. No, dov'era? Stava là sotto, non mi dire. Oh no, non c'ho voglia. Da circa 2 anni, dai. Circa 2 anni, solo che è un po' che non giocavo e ho ripreso ultimamente. Vedendo le storie, le missioni delle storie principali, mi sono ritrovata questa tra quelle da fare e ho detto vabbè, andiamo nella zona acquatica che non ci sono mai stata. Anche se devo finire ancora quella di elettro qualcosina e quella delle piantine.
Whoa! What a huge ship! Why would a ship be anchored at a place like this?
There's no need to be so surprised.
Ah,
While it may
bravo,
look
bravo,
like a
bravo,
ship,
ci sta.
it's actually
Ma
Spina
anche
di
quella
Rosula's
secondaria o principale,
headquarters.
basta.
My father was the one who asked for it to be built like this. Perhaps our taste in exterior design is the only thing we occasionally had in common. A gigantic and glamorous ship embodies discovery, opportunity, ambition, and conquest. It symbolizes Spina di Rosula's bright and limitless future.
And Paimon thought you were bluffing when you
Ah,
said
mi sa di
Spina
sì che hai
di
esagerato,
Rosula
Adesso che
glorious
fai in
past.
gioco? Non fai
I was
niente.
confused why a group with
Ti metti a
such a
fare
history would live in the
daily
sewers. But now that
e
Paimon
roba
has seen
simile.
this ship for herself, she's been
Ah,
convinced.
cioè non c'avevi proprio niente da fare nella vita, in
Croissant is where
pratica.
Spina di Rosula began, after
Perfetto.
all. It's our main base.
Sì, appunto, per farle tutte. Che me ne dici di sto arco narrativo? Com'è? Carino? Ma quello sì, per forza, l'hanno fatto apposta. L'hanno fatto apposta. Non ci puoi fare niente. L'unica cosa positiva è che io, se non sbaglio, mi sono raccolta un sacco di lunette. Un po' alla volta. Vediamo. Non mi ricordo dove stanno, sta qui. Sì, un sacco di lunette, se serve le prendo. Ah, ok. Meno male, meno male. Per quello che ho visto è carino e interessante, soprattutto il fattore del tribunale. Con gli
Apologies for
indizi e
the
queste
wait,
cose qua, che ho
Demoiselle,
giocato l'altro
and our
giorno, era
most
molto carino.
important partners.
L'unica cosa è
You
che
said
alcune volte
before
non
that
ci
you
arrivi,
still had
quindi
some
tipo a un
business
certo
at
punto ho
the
detto
court.
vaffanculo, non ci
What
leggo,
brings you back to
spammo.
Poisson so
Spammo
quickly?
roba.
About that. It's because my partner here reminded me of
Mm.
something really important.
Allora, di estetica
You
mi
see, what
piacciono
if my
molto i
father's case
personaggi
had
di sta
something to
zona,
do
devo
with
dire.
water from the
L'estetica
primordial
sono
sea?
belle.
You still
Di
remember,
carattere
right,
non lo so,
Balus?
devo ancora vedere.
On that night, it was raining?
Yes, the case was quite similar to that of Mr. Linney's. Both were what you'd call impossible murders.
Mm. Io mo... Io adesso con le pulle sono messa più o meno un po' indietro. Cosa?
Yeah, of course. Many years ago, something called synth began to gain popularity in Poisson. At a glance, it was a kind of drink that could excite your mood and produce many pleasant hallucinations.
Wait! Didn't that guard guy who turned into water also mention that the primordial water could be used to produce some kind of potion?
Yes, he did.
Sì,
Considering what
sì,
we know
dovrebbe.
now, it's almost
Anche
certain
se
that
per quello
synth
che ho
is
visto è un
created
po'
using water from the
particolare.
primordial sea. If you drink synth for an extended amount of time, you'll suffer many side effects, such as losing the ability to focus or control your emotions. And if you were to stop drinking it completely, you'll experience flashes of paranoia and anxiety while lacking energy to do anything. It's an extremely dangerous substance. As he oversaw Poisson, my father was compelled to put a stop to synth abuse and called for a complete ban of it.
Boss's uncompromising attitude incurred the synth vendor's
Ah,
wrath, but no matter how much they threatened or
davvero?
bribed him, he refused to yield.
Strano.
Not only
Ma non
that,
hanno fatto tipo la
Boss
scena
became
dove gli
determined to
rubavano
find the
l'agnosi?
mastermind behind the synth operation.
Perché solitamente
Put an
quando
end
fanno
to the
vedere
problem
un
once
arco
and
non la
for all.
mettono, però se non ce l'ha...
Yes, but the enemy was very cunning.
Ma è strana come
Recognizing that,
cosa.
my father decided to contact the dealers in secret and cultivate personal relationships with them.
Cioè, o non è lei,
He
è
was
lei
able to
tipo una
convince someone
figura
to
che lo
become his informant.
rappresenta,
The man's name
e
was
quindi è per
Jacques.
quello che c'è l'agnosi e i
He felt greatly
poteri.
ashamed about
Pure
his work
boh.
after seeing many families destroyed by synth abuse. That night, my father hosted a banquet at his countryside estate. He planned to meet up and exchange information with
Ma
Jacques
perché
over some
sicuramente
food.
io
But
non
then,
c'ho il personaggio, quindi non
we heard
posso
two
vedere.
gunshots from the courtyard. We raced to the scene and found my
Ma da
father,
quant'è che ce l'hai, scusa?
still holding a gun, and Jacques, who was already dead on the ground.
Huh? How did that happen? Aren't they on the same side?
Sounds just like Lenny's case, doesn't it? In both cases, the culprit seemed obvious, but neither appeared to have any motive at all. Looking back on it, though, I now believe the most important clue was something we all overlooked at the time. There were pieces of clothing left at the scene. Precisely. It's all thanks to you that I made the connect, but considering it now, you're right. We still don't know what...
Jacques was an empathetic man who was infinitely remorseful for his past actions. It's unlikely that he turned on Boss with zero warning. I think this third person is probably the key to the full truth. On that note, however, even though this will not please you, demoiselle, as your and your father's butler, I must still offer a word of warning. Our opponent is insidious and cruel. They are extremely difficult to deal with, and Boss has already lost his life trying to bring them to justice. Even though Spina de Rosula has lost most of its former glory, Poisson has welcomed a new time of peace, and we have been allowed to live out our lives. There is no need to follow your father's path. It would be both wise and in line with Boss's wishes to step back and give up on the case.
If that's indeed what he wished for, then he should have told me that himself. Was I not the closest person to him?
Ma sei...
Was the
Dimmi
one
in
most
Furina che
kept in the
arma ha.
dark.
Per
What
curiosità,
was
perché
the
non mi pare di
point of
averla
him
visto.
dying without sharing any of the secrets he knew? Did he
Penso
manage
che la
to
rimetteranno
protect
fra un bel po' come
anything
personaggio da
in the end?
pullare, però.
Synth is still here.
Giusto per
Callus the
sapere.
Unfaithful is still his
Perché
epithet.
sennò mi sa che devo aspettare un
And
bel pezzo
Spina
di
di
storia per
Rosula is
arrivarci.
barely getting by. Nothing has changed. Did he think I'd just accept his meaningless death and live out my life just as meaninglessly? I've never accepted that.
Ah,
Ever.
una
Not since
spadina.
that
Ok,
day,
ok, ok.
and
Ci
certainly
sta, ci
not
sta.
now. I want to find out the real answer for everyone's sake. For the missing girls.
Navia.
This is indeed the best moment to act. Your partner appears to be quite reliable, and more importantly, demoiselle, I think you're also ready to take this on.
So you do know something else, Malus.
Yes, I do. In fact, even before that banquet, Boss already knew of the connection between Synth and the serial disappearances case. But what drove all the tensions to the boiling point was the revelation that you, demoiselle,
Tutti così
had
silenziosi
been
qui.
selected as the next target to disappear.
What?
Boss also didn't tell you that he had been diagnosed with a rare illness.
No, te ti sento parlare,
The
sono loro che
doctors told
non...
him that he had no more than 5 years left to live. And the serial disappearances case caused him great anxiety. 5 years was nowhere near enough time to resolve this long-standing conflict. But once he passed away, all the danger would pass on to you. Knowing all of this, he decided to use one final intimidation tactic before his death. He claimed to have already gotten his hands on some key incriminating evidence for the other side, and even told some members of Spina de Rosula about the details. But as long as you remained safe, he would not share the evidence with the public. If something were to happen to you, then he and all those he told would immediately expose all they knew about Synth and the disappeared victims.
Right, so nobody would be able to get off scot-free.
As we've seen, Boss's tactic has worked. Even though Boss has been gone for a long time, The other side has not tried to take Demoiselle's life.
No, I don't believe it. He never appeared to look sick to me.
No father wants their daughter to see them weak and haggard, especially someone as proud as Boss. To him, dying in a duel and suffering lasting dishonor as the unfaithful was still far preferable than losing face in front of his daughter.
So he chose to die in silence, so that he could protect me.
I'm afraid you're not understanding this correctly, Demoiselle. What Boss wanted to hand to you was not a parasol, but a sword. If Boss's spirit could hear you telling me that you want to find the answer for the sake of everyone involved, I'm sure he'd be extremely proud.
That fool. Couldn't he have just given it to me straight? No. He might have set up everything precisely because he never thought I'd be able to understand him. Is that the amount of confidence he had in me? And what if I was never able to make it to where I am now?
E niente. Va bene. Non ti rispondo neanche. Sì, appunto.
Yeah. I suppose that's true. With the way he'd set things up, if I had wanted, I could have just lived out my life without a care in the world. But thankfully, he rarely talked to me about complex matters, and thus understood little of me as a person. In this case, he really didn't need to give me an easy way out. Malus, what was the key evidence that he shared?
It's the location where synth is produced. When he was threatening the enemy, Boss didn't share the specific. But if you want to use it against the enemy...
Why?
Va
If we know
bene.
where the place is, can't we just go storm?
You mustn't forget that we're fighting against a mysterious and dangerous organization. There's no telling what might be lying in wait at their headquarters. We also have no idea what kind of evidence we may be able to find inside, nor what people we may be able to capture. But a single visit to their
No, non
headquarters
ti
would
avevo
be the
sentito un po'
worst
diverso.
case would be that we leave empty-handed, but also open up.
Then, in that case, why not work with the Fontaine authorities?
Well, you saw one of them dissolve during Mr. Linney's case. We have no idea just how thoroughly they may have been infiltrated.
Huh. That's true. Seems my father really had no choice. But things are different now. It should be a lot easier to prove the other side's guilt, now that we've connected Synth with the disappearances case.
You sound like you've put a lot of thought into this, Malus.
I am the butler, after all. I live but to serve the boss and Demoiselle's will. I've always been willing to take on any kind of risk for your sake. But considering my relative lack of ability, I've spent my time keeping secrets, performing basic investigations, and waiting for the right time to come.
Thank you for all of that, Malus. Have you discovered anything new in the past few years?
Let me think. One conclusion I came to was that when I announced orders to the organization's members on Demoiselle's behalf, I used to deliberately keep a few people in the dark and observe the reactions of the synth vendors. If the vendors didn't change their plans, then the individuals informed of our orders must be innocent. If the vendors packed up and fled, however, then someone must have given them the news. After several rounds of testing and investigative tracing, I've narrowed the suspect list down to 3 people. The first is Florent, Spina de Rosula's senior advisor.
Huh? Florent?
Yes, surprising, isn't it? He was one of the people Boss trusted the most, which which also means that he was someone who understood Boss really well. Thanks to his position within Boss's innermost circle, he always knew our upcoming plans and could thus avoid capture this whole time. There's someone else like him too. Marcel, the head of Confrérie of Cabrières.
Uncle Marcel.
It's a guild in Poisson. Boss helped it to grow to its current size and prominence. In the beginning, they were only reselling some daily goods, but now they're one of the richest guilds around, with a lot of business connections in the city.
So, they're like a sister organization of Spina di Rosula?
Yes, you can say that. When we were fighting against the synth dealers, they provided us with plenty of support. It's a bit difficult to imagine someone using their own money to hunt down themselves.
The final suspect is Thierry, the man responsible for coordinating information between Spina di Rosula and the guards. Although the guards mostly leave us to our own devices, there are still many activities we have to report to the local authorities. Since Thierry is always in the know about our current activities...
I see. These are all people who I communicate with quite regularly. To think that the enemy we've been fighting against has been right next to me all along, among those I trust.
If you want to investigate them, please take every precaution to not alert the quarry. Judging from our experience, the enemy is
Of course. And thank you, Malus. You've provided us with a lot of great information.
You're too kind, my lady. I'm just doing my duty. And before I forget, proving Boss's innocence would also mean clearing him of blame in Jacques' death. After that incident, Jacques' wife and daughter were taken into the Spina's care. They still live in Poisson today. If it might help, you could also pay them a visit. I can make the necessary arrangements.
Oh, thank you so much, Malus. You really are the best.
A new case awaits, my dear partner.
È probabile.
I hope we can work together to uncover the truth and end this case once and for all.
It is settled, then.
Thank you for arranging everything for us, Malus.
Sì.
Excuse me, miss.
Ah, sì.
Hey, Navia's all quiet.
Ah.
This isn't like her at all.
Ah.
I'm
Ah,
sorry.
ok. E niente.
Aren't all of those
Pensavo che
things
fosse
nothing
diverso,
compared to
invece
the
no,
loss of
che
Jacques?
palle. Vabbè, ma ci sta
You
comunque.
don't understand at all.
I didn't know how to face you, because I didn't know what I could possibly bring as a consolation gift. I know only the full...
I'm sorry. On the matter regarding my husband,
Would you
Rasta è un
mind sharing
veleno
it with
proprio,
me?
ragazzi, non l'avete ancora
I
capito.
really can't believe that my father could ever bring himself to shoot Jacques.
I always knew that my husband's money was earned through others' suffering. He told me countless times that if he could turn back the clock, he would never go into the synth business again.
Esatto.
He had many regrets, and felt that he took the idea of providing for his... So when Mr. Callis came to him with a proposal, he tried to be as careful as he could, but even so...
Tutti quelli che l'hanno votato a Game of the Year.
Papa didn't say that exactly. But
Yeah.
Papa did.
Before he left that day, he told me that he had no choice. It was only late. I don't know that for sure. But you could say that's the conclusion I eventually came to. Which is why I'm the one who should feel guilty. Callus had always even if he fired the shot that killed my husband.
But Mama, why is Papa still the bad guy? If he did, Papa always wanted to be a good man. So why did he have to do a bad thing in the end?
Well, things aren't always as they seem. You still feel like your papa was a good man, right?
Yeah, Papa was a really good man. The best in the whole world.
Then you should hold on to that. If a good man had to do a bad thing, then he must have had his reasons. Regardless of whether he left you a parasol or a sword.
No, comunque,
He must
salve
have done
Lori.
so to give you a better life.
Pesac, guarda, grazie per l'invito, ma
Thank you for
preferisco di no.
everything you've told me.
Gioco soltanto con gli amici
I
stretti.
will definitely
Quindi...
find the truth. The current state of things is
Però
not
grazie
something
comunque.
I'm willing to just sit back and accept.
Thank you. Even though your personality is quite different from your father's, your determination when you speak is really similar.
Yeah.
You really think so?
Esatto.
That's the first time anyone said that to me.
Devo fare.
Are you okay, Navia?
I'm fine. Don't worry. Let's investigate the 3 suspects next. Laurent should be nearby, and we should be able to find Thierry and Uncle Marcel in the city. I'll get myself together on the way, so please don't worry.
Greetings, boss. How may I be of assistance today?
I'm sure you've heard about what happened at the Opera House? Someone got turned into water right in front of us.
Yeah, I've heard. With something that dramatic, I'm sure journalists will milk it for all it's worth. And it'll be all the talk for the next several weeks.
It also reminded me, on the day that the incident happened with my father, after my partner here put the dots together for me, I feel like we should... Can you do me a favor and try to recall what happened that night?
Let me think. Mr. Callus would... After that, my first reaction was that Mr. Callus's life was in danger. So, I grabbed my holster and made a mad dash toward...